And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
You can't move to the front.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. We are back with our special guest, Robert Kenyon of First Cabin Travel. Robert, you were giving us a hint before we had to quickly jump off the air for the break. So tell us a little bit about what you were going to say.
Well, I'm going to bring you back to Angkor Wat. When you do go to Angkor Wat, remember that you're going to find tourists. I mean, you're going to stay away from the weekend. That's obvious now. And so when you do get there, though, when you go to Angkor Wat, now Angkor is the entire area. Wat means a temple ground. W-A-T means temple ground. So when you get to the main temple, Angkor Thom, at Angkor Wat, when you go in, it faces east-west. And I always have my guides, or when I was there, I always brought my group to the west end, which is the back end. You're going to have all the tourists in the beginning of the day come in the east end front end. So even if you're there during the weekend, there are going to be scores of tourists. If you come in the back end, you pretty much have it by yourself until you meld into the center. Why is that important? It's important because you can walk along, you can get pictures of the entire site, you can get all the photographs yourself at particular places, and you don't necessarily have other people around you, and you can take your time as you move along. It's a very good point to make, and be sure when you're there to tell your guide, take you in the West End. It'll be a pleasure.
Well, you know, that's one of the things, one of my goals, my bucket list is to go, and I think I told you this before, my bucket list, there's the new 7 wonders of the world. My goal is to go to all of them. And I've been to 2 of them so far, so I have 5 more to go. Right. I've been to the Colosseum in Rome, and I've been to Chichen Itza, the pyramid in the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, some of them are going to be a little bit more difficult to get to than others. Angkor Wat's going to be one of those ones.
What are the 7? Do you know them? Robert, I'm sure
one of them is it's that place in Jordan. I don't know if you saw Indiana Jones. Yeah, that place in Jordan. It's built. It's like a city built into the side of the cliff. That's one. Machu Picchu is one. The Chichen Itza, obviously, the Colosseum in Rome. I can't think. Maybe Paul can find the remainder of the ones. I can't remember what the other ones are.
Oh, are you searching?
Yeah, he's searching for us right now.
For them.
Yeah, because that's one of my goals.
Love Paul.
That's why I love Paul. He's there. He's ready for us to spit him out here anytime. While I keep talking and try to keep everyone engaged while he's getting us this information. Did you find it, Paul?
We have the Great Wall of China. We have Rio de Janeiro, Machu Picchu.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah, he's going to spit him out.
Stonehenge, the Colosseum, the Catacombs, the Great Wall of China, the porcelain tower of Beijing, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Hagia Sophia, and the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Are you sure those are the new 7
No.
wonders?
I can't believe that. No, I would change it. And I know they're ever changing. That's what
See, this is why you
happens.
can't trust the internet.
This is why you have 2.
That's what I'm saying. You can't trust the internet.
Okay, mine says
The
Rio de
Leaning Tower of
Janeiro,
Pisa.
the Great Wall of China, Machu Picchu, Petra, Jordan, Pyramid, the Yucatan Peninsula. We have the Rome Colosseum and the Taj Mahal.
I think that's the one. Sorry, Paul.
Sorry, Paul.
I think those were the runners up. But that's okay.
I just worked here.
That's it. He's not on his game today for
It's
everyone.
okay, Paul.
So, one of the other things I wanted to move on to is, Robert Kenyon, in addition to being this incredible travel guide that has this knowledge of the world except for the 16 countries that he hasn't been to, he is the editor and publisher of a magazine up here called Discover North County, and there's also one called Discover Rancho Santa Fe. Robert, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came about creating this magazine?
Well, it's really pretty simplistic, and that is that when I decided to bring the tour company back to life again, I got married and I had 3 small children. I wanted to be at home with them, so I came off the road. We still sent out custom tours, but it wasn't going at the strength that it had been previously. So about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I mentioned to my wife that I wanted to start, I say, awakening the giant, that being the travel company. And so I went to some local magazines and I asked them what advertising prices would be. And for a full page 4-color, on average, it was about $50,000 a year. You can negotiate that down a bit, but let's say we got it down to 45, and I thought, I'm not sure I want to put $45,000 into this. So we used to do tour brochures for our company, and so I told my wife we're going to start a magazine, and we did. And the amazing thing to me about it is that it's really taken on a life of its own. And what I try to do very sincerely and also very hard is that I want to put in great literary content. I think a magazine distinguishes itself with that. If you put in great interviews, you put in great articles about a variety of subjects, making it a coffee table issue, so that not only do people bring it into their homes and they put it down on their coffee table and read it again and again, they then pass it on to friends, or even more so to me, they anticipate the next issue. And that's really been something that I've enjoyed. Beyond that, it has allowed me to get in touch with a lot of the charity foundations that are here locally. And it's a community effort where all of these great charity foundations that we can support by showing media sponsorship, and for the great things that they're doing for those who are less fortunate than we, it's a vehicle for them to get out their advertisements and get folks to come to their charity galas and support their efforts. So beneficial all the way around.
Well, you know, one of the things that how I met Robert is because I get a lot of these magazines, different magazines, and I received one of these, and it stuck out in my head because I knew that this was not just some run-of-the-mill thrown together at the last second, you know, basically me trying to get a ton of sponsors or advertisers in the magazine type of magazine. So I saw it, and aesthetically, it's incredible. I mean, the paper quality is I mean, it really is. I mean, the paper quality is top notch. The pictures, the quality of the ads and the graphics are incredible. But as Robert mentioned, the thing that really captured me was the content. And I remember there was one in particular I read where there was a Navy SEAL that you had interviewed, and I guess he runs a company now, but you interviewed him about his time being a Navy SEAL and how he's taking that experience into the business world. And I mean, that was amazing to me that, you know, somebody around here had that kind of experience and knowledge, and I found all of that information in your magazine, and it was quite enlightening.
Well, thank you, Michael. And if you go online, you can go to discovernorthcountymagazine.com, and you can read back issues just by opening up our digital flip book. And there are a couple of great reads in there. Zandra Rhodes, who is a Dom here locally in San Diego. She's in Solana Beach. She's a fascinating designer of fashion, and she's in there with an interview. And there's a fellow named Frank Isaac, and he had actually hijacked a plane out of Hungary just before the Hungarian Revolution.
Oh my God.
He's now 83. It is a fantastic article.
Definitely.
Well, I want to thank Robert for coming in today. And Robert, I wanted to ask you something. If somebody's interested in maybe getting a copy of the magazine, or is interested in talking to you about helping them with their travel plans, and, you know, basically maybe setting up a trip, especially you should really consider going to Angkor Wat if you can.
I think we all should.
We all should. How do they get a hold of you, Robert? What's the easiest way?
The easiest way is email, and it's F as in first, C as in cabin, at first spelled out, cabin spelled out, .com. That's first, FC at firstcabin.com. Thank you, Michael.
Well, Robert, I want to thank you for coming in today, and hopefully you'll come back and visit us again real soon.
I'd love to come here. Thank you so much for the invite. Great to meet you, Michelle. And
Likewise,
I envy your trip to Cuba.
I envy you. That makes me humble, but trust me, the envy is all in the park.
Well, after the break, Michelle and I are going to talk about down payment assistance programs, and I think you're going to want to hear this. So
like,
you're listening.
Nobody wants to hear about down payment assistance.
No, after the travel, but they should. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.